Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Jun with Hapa英会話, and joining me today, I got three special guests from all over the world. I'm super excited about this YouTube Live we are doing today. Let me introduce our guests for today. First off, we have Chris from Canada. Excuse me, I should say Christopher from Canada. How you doing, Christopher?
Pretty good, thanks.
And we have Louis from England. He is currently living in Yamanashi Prefecture in Japan. Hey, Louis, how you doing today?
Fantastic. Thank you for inviting me.
And last but not least, we got Jeffrey, who is from Sydney, Australia. Hey, Jeffrey, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on the show today. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, guys. So today, I am going to provide you guys with 5 sentences. Now, these sentences are not incorrect. Most of them, or actually all of them, are grammatically correct. The purpose of this video today is to see what sounds natural to you guys. Obviously, I'm from the United States. We got Christopher, who is from Canada, Louis from England, and Jeffrey from Australia. So what we all feel as quote unquote natural is going to be different. So in today's live session, I want to go around and see what you guys find natural. All right. Now, before we get started, let me just quickly explain what we're doing today in Japanese. 皆さん、こんにちは。今日はですね、特別な3人のゲストをお呼びしています。今日はクリストファー先生、カナダ出身のクリストファー先生、イギリス出身のルイス先生、そしてオーストラリア出身のジェフリー先生で、実は3人ともカフェトークのオンライン習い事サイトで英語を教えています。今日の企画はですね、日本人特有表現ということなのですが、英語といっても、世界のどこに住んでいるかによって、自然な英語っていうのはそれぞれ変わってきます。ということで、今日紹介する文章は、間違いではないけれど、アメリカ人、カナダ人、イギリス人、オーストラリア人にとって自然な感覚とは何なのか、その自然な英語を皆さんそれぞれに紹介してもらいたいと思います。Now, before we get started, I just have to make a quick shout out to my Los Angeles Lakers. I don't know if you guys are following basketball or not, but the Lakers are playing as we are speaking right now. Today is the finals. If they win today, they are going to take home the championship. So I'll be rooting for the Lakers. And this one is also for the great Kobe Bryant. バスケファンの方、レイカーズの決勝戦が今日です。もし今日、レイカーズが今日勝ったらレイカーズ優勝するので、今日はレイカーズのジャージを着ています。OK、私のどうでも話はいいので、早速スタートをしましょう。All right, guys, are you guys ready to do this?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just by the way, to all the listeners, all 3 teachers have no idea what these sentences are. ドッキリみたいな感じでどんなセンテンスなのか皆さん全くわからないので、見ている皆さんもぜひ参加をしてください。この文章を見て自分だったらどのように表現をするのかを考えてください。Okay, first sentence, guys. Now, I want you to imagine 2 people, and let's say, for example, talking about my 2 friends. And I say this to you guys about my 2 friends. They quarrel all the time. They quarrel all the time. So I think you guys get the meaning. Now, there's nothing wrong with this sentence, but I want you to write this in a way that you would say in your country with your friends. All right? じゃあまず一つ目の文章が They quarrel all the time. これは全然文章として間違っていないのですが、3人の先生が自分だったらこの文章をどういうふうに言い換えるのかを見ていきたいと思います。All right. So, Christopher, it looks like you're ready.
I am.
All right. You want to share your answer?
Sure. Just they fight. They fight all the time.
They fight all the time. All right. Now, question to you. When you hear this word quarrel versus fight, what what's the difference to you? Why did you choose fight over quarrel in this situation?
Yeah, it's a good question because quarrel is more accurate, I guess. If you hear fight, then you have to think in your mind, well, are they physically fighting with fists or are they fighting with their words? And then just sort of understand from context. The reason I think I choose fight is it's just shorter and easier and more efficient. Less work with the muscles.
That is true. Quarrel is actually a pretty hard word to pronounce, huh? Lots of R's, lots of L's in there. All right. Well, thank you very much, Christopher. Let's move on to Lewis. Lewis from England. What you got?
Well, what comes to my mind is they're always having a Barney.
Love it. All right.
Interesting one.
Yeah.
Can you show that to the screen one more time for a tad bit longer? Okay. All right. So, Lewis, I'm going to have to be completely honest with you. I have never used the word Barney. You're going to have to explain to me what that means.
Yeah, I don't even really know what it means. I just know it contextually.
Okay.
So they're always having a Barney. A Barney is like, you know, an argument, like a fight, an argument, you know, like, oh, they're arguing, they're shouting. So yeah, that idea, oh, they're having a Barney. Yeah, that argument, fighting, quarrel. Yeah.
Got you. Yeah. Does Barney ever have the meaning of an actual like physical fight, or is it always an argument?
Yeah, no, I don't think. Yeah, no, I think just an argument, I picture like they're shouting, having a real like, yeah, but nothing physical. Yeah, just an argument.
Gotcha. Yep. So Barney, 皆さん見ている方ね、Barney アメリカ英語でも使わないですよね。That has to be I'm assuming what is slang that's used in England?
I guess. Have you never heard of it before?
I have never heard of it. I mean,
I've heard it.
You've heard of it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
When you say Barney, the first thing that comes to mind is Barney, the purple monster that I used to watch when I was a kid.
Yeah, monster. Yeah. I thought he was a dinosaur.
Oh, a dinosaur. That's what it is. Barney the dinosaur. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm not surprised. Jeff in Australia has heard it because I think a lot of the time slang between kind of Australia and England, I kind of feel is sometimes the same.
Yeah, it is similar. I don't think it's used that often in Australia, but I've heard it just from probably watching many English TV programs or movies. But yeah, it could be used in Australia too.
Well, it's your turn, Jeffrey. What do you got?
Well, pretty similar to Christopher, except I put it in the progressive tense. So they're always fighting. Mm-hmm. But I did put underneath it another one you could use. They're always at each other's throats. Which is a bit more of an idiom, at each other's throats, almost like biting at their throats. Fighting, although to a non-native speaker might sound like a physical fight, but we tend to use that a lot just for arguments. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but at each other's throats is another common expression we may use when people are at each other's throats, they're arguing all the time. Right. Quarrel does sound a little bit formal to me.
Yep. And I think I feel the same way with you guys too. I sometimes do see my students use this word quarrel. I think when you do translate it from Japanese to English, this is the word that will pop up from time to time. Like Jeffrey mentioned, it sounds just a little bit formal. So I would go with fighting, maybe get into arguments all the time is another one that I would use. But very good.
Arguing.
All right. Yep, getting to arguments. ということですね。ということで、今日、この3人のね、会話をまとめると、quarrelはちょっと硬い、フォーマルな響きがあるということで、fight。もちろんこれはね、実際に喧嘩をするという意味もあるのですが、状況を把握して、これは口喧嘩なんだなというのを、一般的に理解できるはずです。であとはね、Lewis の Barney。これはイギリス英語です。Alright, guys. Very good. Okay, the next question. Okay, so this is obviously not a mistake, but I want your opinion on this question because in a lot of textbooks in Japan, They say asking this question to somebody you meet for the first time is quote unquote unnatural. There's another way you should say it. And I want to hear what you guys think about it. What is your hobby? Is this a weird question to ask somebody? What is your hobby? If you think it is a weird question, then how would you rephrase this question? じゃあ次の質問は What is your hobby? 結構多くのね、サイトとか本を見ていると、あなたの趣味は何ですかをそのまま What is your hobby? というのはちょっと違和感があるっていうのを耳にしたことがあるんですよね。これって本当なのでしょうか? Okay, so Christopher, it looks like you are ready. So what are your thoughts on what is your hobby?
It feels a little bit like you're a news reporter.
A news reporter. Okay.
It just feels very direct to me. It feels like you're not actually concerned with getting to know that person. You're just learning a data point. That's what it feels like to me. So I'm more interested in knowing, what do you do for fun?
Okay.
I want to know the feelings. I want to know why you do that thing.
Uh-huh. So a news reporter. Yeah, I kind of get that right there. It's a very direct question, right? ということで、クリス先生のね、言うには、ちょっとレポーターのような感じがすると。What is your hobby? っていうのは。Alright. Okay, let's go to Jeffrey next. What are your thoughts on this question?
I kind of came up with two. The first one is a little bit more casual. What are you into? It's probably more for younger people, I think. What are you into? So into, kind of involved in. And another one, what do you like to do in your free time? A little bit more formal there. What do you like to do in your free time? Hobby sounds a little bit like when you're young and you have a stamp collection or something like that. It kind of has this image as a hobby, like, are you a coin collector or a stamp collector? There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But I think in a casual conversation, don't tend to use it that often.
That's true. Yeah. Speaking about hobbies and collections, I don't know how many years we were apart, but that brings me back to the days when I used to collect pogs. Do you guys ever collect pogs?
I don't even know what a pog is.
Slam it. If you guys are watching this, Google pogs. I think it's POGS. It's something that we used to play back in the days. Reveal my age, so we'll cut it there. Before we move on, Jeffrey, what is just your feeling about what is your hobby? Do you think it's just too direct? Is it too formal? Would you feel strange if somebody asked you this question?
No, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it, but I just don't really hear it that often in conversation with other native speakers for some reason. To me, it kind of does sound a little bit like we're back at school. And as I kind of keep coming back to the stamp collection type thing. So there's nothing wrong with it. And probably I have heard it occasionally, but it doesn't sound that natural the way most native speakers use it. I think, what do you do in your free time? What are you into? Came to mind for me.
Okay, and Lewis, how about you?
Well, I wrote two options, and the first one's the same as Christopher. What do you do for fun? Okay, but the second one, what's your thing?
What's your thing? Okay.
What's your thing? Because people talk a lot about, what do you do, talking about your job, but kind of what's your thing? Just a moment ago, while Jeffrey was talking, I thought of another thing. What's your passion?
What's your passion?
Yeah, what's your passion? What's your thing? Exactly like you said, if you say the word hobby, I think of something like, like stamp collection, like it's kind of one little thing that you do. But when you talk about like your thing, your passion, it's more like what defines you, like when I used to work in security, and I used to work at bars and clubs, and I'd talk to people all the time, and people would always say, what do you do? Talking about your job. And I'm not interested in what you do as your job unless you love your job. But I always want to know, what's your thing? What's your passion? What are you into? You know, that I think, that kind of defines you.
Gotcha. What is your thing? っていう質問の仕方ですね。And Lewis, I'll be pretty honest with you. I think if I was living in the United States, or let's say, for example, I visited England and someone out of the blue just asked me, so June, what is your thing? I think it would throw me off a little bit. I would probably hesitate for a second, thinking like, what do you mean, what is my thing? But if you follow it up with like, so what is your passion? What do you like to do? Then I would kind of get it. So I think there is a bit of a gap right there when you say like, what is your thing? Because the word thing is such a versatile word.
Very general.
Right? Very general. So, ちょっと僕がね、パッと感じたのは多分アメリカに住んでいて、今例えばね、こういうふうに、June, what is your thing? って聞かれたら多分一瞬戸惑うと思いますね。この人は一体私に何を聞いているんだろうと。でもその後に、パッションは何かっていう質問がフォローすれば、なるほど趣味のことを聞いているんだなっていうことが理解できるかと思います。Alright, and this is why I love doing these things because, depending on where you're from, you explain things or express things differently. Alright, the next one. So this is also a direct translation from Japanese to English. It is not incorrect, but what do you guys think about this sentence? I confessed my love to her. So this is a situation if you are maybe confused by this sentence. You like somebody, you're interested in somebody, and you decided to confess your love to them. So let's say, for example, I'm hanging out. I have some girl that I'm really interested in. I've been telling my buddy about how amazing this girl is. And I tell my buddy, hey, Andrew, yesterday I confessed my love to her. So I think you guys kind of get the point. I confessed my love to her. これ日本語にするとね、告白をするっていうことになるんですよね。じゃあこの告白をしましたをもし英語にする場合、どのように表現をするのか。Lewis, let's start with you this time.
Yeah, from reading manga and watching anime, I know that like confessions are like a kind of a big thing. Yeah. Well, so what I wrote is, I let her know how I feel. Okay. So I let her know how I feel. So, as a direct translation, how I feel is well, how do you feel? Maybe you hate her, but no, it's like the implication that how you feel is, it's romantic, it's unspoken, So I let her know how I feel. If someone was to say that, you say like, oh, how you feel, your desire, your passion. So yeah. Right. I guess in the same way that you said confess, well, confess what? It's a bit, you don't say it directly.
Right. Exactly. And, through the context, and obviously if this is a friend, you know what that feeling is, right? So you don't have to be specific about it. ということでね、how I feel、自分がどう感じたかを相手に伝えたという言い方になりますね。これ日本語でもね、わかりますよね。そのどういうことを感じたのかっていうのは。Okay, Jeffrey, let's go with you next.
Yeah, I came up with, I told her I was really into her. This phrase, to be really into someone, I'm really into her, into him. Once again, a fairly casual expression that into someone means you're really, well, maybe not love, but you're really attracted to them. You want to have a relationship with them. So that's what I came up with. Yeah, confess sounds a little bit what you might read in a novel or maybe some romance book, and sounds very fine and excellent English. But once again, I don't really hear it so much in casual conversation, especially if you're talking to your friend.
Yeah, it seems a bit heavy when you're making a confession, right? Yeah. Alright, so into ですね。ジェフリーさんの場合は into という言葉を使いました。じゃあ最後にクリストファー先生、go for it.
Yeah, I understand that temptation. You learn a word like confess and you want to use it. But I decided to simplify that. And at first I thought just told, the verb to tell. But within confess, I think there's an implied finally there. So I kept I love her. We're saying this is like a heavy situation, but instead we say, I finally told her that I love her.
Right. And I think that's a good point you make with the finally, because confessing means that you've been holding back your feelings the whole time. And then you finally got the courage or whatever it is to let the other person know how you feel. All right. ということで、クリスのね、今回の、使った動詞は told なのですが、キーポイントはこの finally という言葉ですね。やっぱその告白するっていうのは自分の気持ちをずっとね、抑えていて、やっと自分の本音を伝える、気持ちを伝えるっていうことで、finally という言葉を入れました。
I also feel like, can I just say, I also feel like confess, I don't know about you guys, but from like a Christian background, you know, we talk about going to confession where you confess your sins. So confession maybe actually has a little bit of a negative. Just the word itself can be a little bit negative.
Wrong.
Yeah, like, I must confess. You know, so it's a little bit, actually a bit dark maybe, you know.
That is true, right? It might have a little bit of a negative connotation because when you do confess something, it's usually because you did something that you're not supposed to do and you have to let it out. All right. Okay, you know what? We have to wrap it up very quickly, but let's go one very quick and then we'll end our session for today. All right, so this one is going to be a quick one. I went to the sea today. I went to the sea today. Your thoughts on this sentence? You could keep it the way it is and tell me what it means. じゃあ次の文章ですね。これ一回ライブレッスンでもやりましたね。海に行きましたを英語にすると sea を使うのか難しいですよね、これも。Okay, Jeffrey, what do you think about this?When
I think about going to the sea, to me, I kind of picture a beach. So I went to the beach, sounds very natural, but I did put another one there. I went to the seaside today. For me, sea doesn't quite make sense because I really think about being out in the ocean there. So I think seaside, if there's no beach, maybe I went to the seaside today. But I tend to think if people are going to the sea for a day trip, it's probably going to be a beach. If there's some sand, then I would say beach.Beach. I went to the beach today, or maybe seaside if there's no beach.
Right. And I like you mentioned, I think sea, you just imagine a giant water.
Yeah,
like you're like on a boat or something.
Water, yeah. Like being out at sea. Something. Yes.
Lewis, how about you?
Yeah, well, exactly like you said. If you say I went to the sea itself is the key.And we're not really going to the sea, we're kind of going to the beach, you know? So I went to the beach today. Yeah, because that's what you're really going for, I think, is the beach. Yeah, if you say, I've gone out to sea, like, you're out in the ocean. Yeah. So yeah, maybe I went to the beach today.
Yeah. And Christopher, how about you?
Opposite. If somebody said, what did you do today? And you'd say, oh, I spent all day on land.Yeah, I also went with beach or pier. Like, where specifically did you go? What did you do?
All right. So I think we all agree on this. You know, I think when we talk about a place to hang out, it's usually the beach, right? Where there's a sandy shore area where you put your umbrella up, you take your surfboard out, whatever it is you do at the beach. I think that's where you go to hang out. Christopher brought up a good example. It's kind of like hanging out at the land, right? Land は陸のことを表すのですが、やはりね、sea というとね、その海の、水のことをね、ちょっとイメージしてしまうので、海に行くと言いたい場合は、beach を使うのが皆さんナチュラルだというふうにおっしゃっていました。All right, guys. Well, this goes by really, really fast. Just like that, 25 minutes has gone by. So we're going to have to wrap it up for today. 今日のね、ライブレッスンでは、今日紹介した文章っていうのは決して間違いではないんですよね。全部文章としては正しいのですが、友達とね、日常会話で話しているときに、イギリス、カナダ、そしてオーストラリア、アメリカで自然な言い方は何なのかっていうのを比べたいと思いました。次はですね、 アメリカ英語、イギリス英語、オーストラリア英語とカナダ英語の違いについて、クリス先生、ルイス先生と、あとはジェフリー先生とお話をしたいと思います。やっぱ同じね、英語でも住んでいる場所によって表現の仕方やね、発音の仕方、スペルや文法が異なります。ということでね、次はどこまでね、その違いがあるのかっていうのを4人で検証していきたいと思います。Hapa Buddies のメンバーは引き続きこのライブでその英語のね、違いをご覧いただけます。YouTube を視聴している皆さん、こちらのアメリカ英語、イギリス英語、オーストラリア英語とカナダ英語の違いは数週間後に YouTube にアップしますので、お楽しみください。ちなみに Hapa Buddies は Hapa英会話オンラインコミュニティで、毎週末こういったね、企画を行っていますので、興味のある方はぜひチェックしてください。That is about it, guys. And before we wrap up, これを見ている方たち、I just want to let you guys know that Christopher, Lewis, and Jeffrey are all amazing teachers on Cafe Talk, and they offer some great lessons. So if you guys are interested in taking their lessons, make sure you check out their profiles on Cafe Talk. 3人ともね、オンライン習い事サイトカフェトークの英語の先生です。今日のね、ディスクリプションのところに先生のプロフィールを載せますので、興味のある方はぜひチェックしてください。もしくはカフェトークに行って、先生の名前を検索すれば出てきますので、いや、楽しいレッスンやってますよ。ぜひチェックしてあげてください。Okay, Christopher, Lewis, and Jeffrey, thank you very much for joining today. That was a lot of fun, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.